Hey guys, welcome to the Pop Room Show. I'm your host, LaShae De'Lana, and today's topic is interracial relationships. I think it's very important for us to talk about those topics, especially during the climate of our world with the Black Lives Matter movement. I am talking and interviewing with my executive producer, naturally Tekira, due to her being in an interracial marriage. So let's get started. Let's go to those chairs, y'all. So naturally, Tekira, you have joined me again for season 3 of the Pop Room Show.
Yep.
And I thought it was very important for us to have a discussion about interracial relationships because of the Black Lives Matter movement. And I had a question, and I've been wondering how interracial couples are dealing with the movement. So let's just get right into it. So one of my questions that I've been kind of wondering is how, for instance, because you have a husband who's white, and first of all, let me give you a little background. For her to have a white husband is just funny to me because she's so Afrocentric. And when her husband first was seeking her to date her, he told me that she was going to be his wife. And I was like, she don't even like white men. And she ended up marrying a white man. 9 years later, they have 2 beautiful children. So it's just funny to see that. Right. But anyway, I was wondering, how has your husband discussed any of his feelings during this movement concerning the Black Lives Matter? How's it making him feel because he has a black wife and he has black children or mixed children?
It's nuanced. So let me just say this. My husband, although he is a white man, he grew up around the black community a lot.
Okay.
Right? A lot of black friends. I'm not the first black girl he's dated or even married for that matter.
Right.
So he grew up on it a lot. I know that when George Floyd happened, when at his death and after the protests and stuff afterwards, I took it really hard.
Okay.
I took it really hard, and I was grieving, and I was hurt, and I was crying, and I was so just really upset with everything going on. And my husband, he would just say, "Babe, that's okay. You have the right to feel that way. You have the right to feel that way." And I said, "Well, babe, how do you feel? What do you think about everything?" He said, "It ain't wrong what I think. I'm not black."
Y'all hear that, white folks? I'm just playing.
So I was like, "Well, how do you feel about the riots and all this stuff?" He's like, "What? I'm not black." He said, "Y'all tell me where I get in. What do you want me to do? Where do I fit? How can I be of service to you and to my children?"
So he's like, you guys take the lead and I'll follow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I so appreciated that. I so appreciated that he did not tell me that I'm over exaggerating or that it's not that bad, or that I like that he gave me the space to feel how I felt. He didn't try to talk me out of my feelings. He helped me when I cried. He told me, "Babe, I understand this is heavy. It's a lot going on." He was like, "My heart hurts for your community, our people, for America as a whole." He was like, but yeah, he said, I'm not gonna tell y'all what I think you should do or what you shouldn't. Our thing that we need to just, switch our money and start buying more black owned and make sure we put our money behind the businesses and stuff like that. And so I really love that.
I can definitely appreciate that because a lot of white people do not want to take the back seat of our feelings.
Yes.
They don't want to let us lead or whatever. So he's like, just tell me where I fit in and now do my part. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let y'all take the lead and you just let me know when y'all need some help or whatever the case may be. I like the idea. I like that he's too, it's very humble for somebody to even be that way. So that's, shout out to him. I appreciate that.
Because I also have friends who have, white spouses or something like that and who don't have that same testimony, that their spouse is saying that things like, it's like systemic racism is a myth, or what about black on black crime? And it's created a lot of tension, a lot of hurt feelings in marriages and relationships. And it's hard. It's what do you do with that? You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm very, very blessed in that way. And that's, one of the reasons why I married him, because I know that he allows me to be me, and he's not trying to be black. He's not trying to change me to be anything else.
Right.
We just are who we are, and we respect that about each other.
That's excellent.
And even love it,
Okay, girl. Okay, so my other question is, I wonder how, as far as a couple, do you feel in a sense because of the Black Lives Matter movement and what black men go through, do you feel as if you are in a sense betraying your race? Is there a sense of betrayal? Do you guys feel like that, or do you feel like well, right now is like the time for me to talk about my relationship because Black people are hurting so much, or whatever the case may be? Are you a little bit more sensitive to the fact, or is it just like, no, this is my husband, it is what it is, you know?
That's such a good question. It's such an interesting question. I remember when I first started dating my husband, and I heard the song by Indiari, Brown Skin, you know I love, and I was just singing it in the car, and I was like, oh dang, he real white. And I was like, I can't even brown skin? I'm not on brown skin no more? What happened to my brown skin?
Oh, and that's why I was like, it's very...
I was like, I could definitely tell where his begin, where mine end.
And that's why I said the backstory is just so funny that you married somebody white, how Afrocentric you were. Yeah,
but,
no more brown skin for you.
And I did kind of go through my thing where I'm like, but I still love Black men.
Okay.
I still love Black men. And I think this is the thing that people have to understand, is that although you may be married or with somebody of a different ethnicity, culture, whatever you want to call it, does not always mean that you negate your own, that you ignore your own. Now, I think because people are so loud to say, I only date exotic women, or I only date this kind of man, or I only date, you know, I want somebody white, I want somebody this. They're so loud with their, maybe ignorance, if I can't think of a better word. You know what I'm saying? Or with their preferences, whatever you want to call it. Some of it's ignorance, some of it's just preference.
Right.
But they're so loud that you don't really hear the people that's like, no, my husband may be white, but I still love Black men.
Yes.
I have Black brothers. My fathers are Black. I have a stepfather and a biological father. They're Black. I love Black men. Right. I go hard for my people. That's never changed. And it just so happens that this man loved me so good that at the point that I was like, I don't care what
race he is.
I don't. And I really had to ask myself when we were dating, am I going to not be with him because of the lack of melanin in his skin? Is his skin color really going to be the reason why I'm not with him?
That you miss out on a good
man.
That
I miss out on all this love.
Yeah. Wow, that's
real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it is. And I don't feel like I betrayed my people. I don't feel like I have to shy away from my husband or take down from where I stand, or how I promote Black people and Black business, and that I teach my children about their Black history. We have Black history posters and quotes. You've been over my house, you saw those posters. Right. We had quotes on the fireplace that we kept up even before before the protests and stuff happened. We had those up there. And he teaches about their Black history as well. He learns about the Black history as well. And so I don't feel like I betrayed my people, although I understand people will say that.
Because a lot of people assume that because you're with a white person that you just don't like Black people as far as dating. Like, I'm not interested in dating Black people, though I'm Black, whatever the case may be. And honestly, I'm going to quite frankly be honest, that was my thinking back in the day when a person dated somebody who was white, or married someone, I should say. Because it was like, okay, if you're dating, you're dating. But if you're marrying somebody, it's like, oh, this is permanent. Like, you forget about us. And that was my own ignorance until I got older and more mature, but also because we have a lot of interracial marriages in our family. We do. So, we do. But I think that was the narrative for so long. Like, you felt betrayed because back in the day, they were the enemy. Do you know what I'm saying? You saw them as the enemy. Like, how dare you? You know, go, you know, ski the slopes or sneak off to the OC or whatever you want to call it. And y'all, I watched something new the other day with Sanaa Lathan, and that's what her brother said when she was dating a white guy. Talking about you skiing the slopes. The new, something new. The movie something new. Okay. And so that's where I got that from. Anyway, that's why I said that. But it was, you know what I mean? And I think though that that's the narrative, and it has to change. But there are so many people who are so loud who still feel that same way, or still think the same way that I own. That's all I heard growing up. You know what I'm saying? I only date light-skinned girls, because it wouldn't even do. Yeah, and they beyond. You know what I'm saying? That the colorism in our own community. Many layers to that. And if you want to be real about it, and let's talk about the real. Give me the real. The real tea is that white guys are the ones who always pursue me more so than black men. Now, why do you think that is? You don't know? I don't know. And it was so weird to me. Okay, you might kill me for this, but I need people to understand your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of people don't mind a black woman being with a white man.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's with a black man being with a white woman, it's like, what are you doing? And the funny thing is, you even made your comments about a black man being with a white woman, and I'm like, but your husband's white, so how can you? That's a double standard for you because you married someone white. Why is it an issue for a black man to marry someone white? So can you give me a little background of, or can I say this?
Mm-hmm.
In a general statement of how typically what black people think, why do you think black people have an issue with black men being with white women than black women being with white men?
Again, great question. But seriously, okay, so if I think of in general terms, why people may generally have a problem with black men being with white women and not the other way around. Back in the day, and historically, the man is the chaser. Do you get what I'm saying? And it seemed like black men made the conscious choice, a decision to really go hard after white women. That's what I knew growing up. I saw a lot of celebrities be with white women, and I felt like black women were left to the side. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you had the choice to pursue somebody, you're gonna pursue a white woman. That's how it felt.
If it's not a white woman, it's a black woman of lighter skin color.
Right, or who's biracial, or, you know. And so that's what I saw a lot, and that's how I felt little in growing up, is that, well, why do they keep choosing white women over black women? That's what it felt like. And then as I started to see black women with white men, I felt like, oh, somebody chose us.
So you made it seem like it was more of a privilege and an honor for a white man to be with us, but it was more a lack of love towards black women for a black man not to choose us.
Yes, and I think because too, a lot of the narrative was a lot of black men said, I only date white women.
Yes.
And I think that's really the nuance that irks people, and even me. Because I feel like if you're so narrow-minded to say I only date, and I don't care what race you are. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I even think for white men to say like I only date black women, it's like,
why?
But if you meet a white woman who has the same attributes, you're gonna let something as deep as skin color stop you. And I think I got that as I got older. But for being very transparent, as a child, I felt like I was raised traditional. You know, the man does the chasing and stuff like that. And it seemed like nobody was chasing us.
Right.
Nobody was choosing black women.
Right. And then in my own experience, hearing it from my own ears, the narrative was that black women have attitude, we're too aggressive, we're too sassy, we're not submissive. It was just a negative connotation when it comes to black women. So therefore, this is why I don't date black women, because y'all got too much attitude, y'all got too much sass, y'all not submissive. And then even to be a little bit on the vulgar side, it was a lot of the sexual stuff too, what things we're not willing to do sexually in the bedroom and whatnot or whatever. But then my thoughts were, you have a black mother, so what are you saying about your own mother? Because the woman who raised you and the reason why you are who you are today, you're telling me that you don't even value that.
That's what it seemed like, and that's why I said no. It felt like nobody was choosing us. It felt like nobody was choosing us. When you got to a certain status, you didn't choose us because we had this, because we had that. You know what I'm saying? And so when I saw more growing up, when I saw more white men, or even got more attention from white men than black men, I felt like, oh, somebody is choosing us. Like at that point, I was almost like, we got to take love where we can get it. Don't be mad at me because you ignore me and somebody else. I'm giving attention to somebody else. Right. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what it felt like.
I also noticed too, men who are not black, because you said like, oh, someone's choosing us, it's a different type of appreciation for black women. It seemed like men who weren't black, when they pursue black women, were exotic, were beautiful. Right. They put you on a pedestal as if you're like this just foreign Nubian goddess and blah, blah, blah. Whereas black men, and I can't say this for all black men, so let me give that disclaimer, because it's a lot of black men who love and deeply appreciate their black women. They think their black women are queens. But it's a handful of y'all who be like, off of us black women, and then the white men and the men who outside of black men, they just think the world, they just, girl, you would think we was like the queen, you know, put the rose petals down when we walk by and stuff. They just put you on this pedestal like the Nubian, like you just want to do all this every time you talking to them, you know. Right. You know what I mean?
And some people, but see, then there's that nuance, and some people even had an issue with that because they're like, I'm not your fetish. Don't make me like, you know what I'm saying? Don't make me so that I'm like me for me, but not just because I'm a black woman. And so I feel like it's such a layered and intricate discussion, and so many layers to it. As we get older, as I gotten older though, I wanted my life to be less about, or my love and my marriage to be less about that, and more about the person who really loves me, regardless of what he looks like or what race he is. And even in that though, I still love Black love. I love the docuseries Black Love. I love that that's being promoted. I love that there's a hashtag. Yes, Black love all day. I love seeing chocolate couples with chocolate babies. I love seeing, you know what I'm saying? I love it. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. That does not negate that. That does not negate that. It just, I so happen to found the person who loves me the way that I want to be loved is to be a white man.
And like you said, the black men didn't pursue you. My best friend is half white. Her father is Italian and her mom is black. But her mother expressed to me, and they're divorced now, but she remarried another white man. And I'm like, and we make this, I'm like, you always with these white men. She said, black men don't like me. They don't pursue me. And she's older. I believe she's a baby boomer. She's an older lady, so she's more of the old school. She's not going to pursue a man. So all the men who she's dated were only white men because those were the only men who gave her the time of day.
If they're the only ones asking for my number, you know what I'm saying?
And she was the kind of woman who wanted chocolate babies and all that. But it didn't go that way because only white men seem to be attracted to her. Right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just funny to me because you just don't know, because everybody's just like, they're attracted to who they're attracted to, and like you said, sometimes it's just about preference. And it's not necessarily about like what you can do for me or what black women don't do and what they do. You know what I mean? So in saying that, how do you guys come together with your children? Because you have kids who are, and I always wondered this about lighter skinned people, and not to get into the colorism, but you have kids who are more fair skinned, they're more light, and they don't have the kinky hair, they have more of their dad's side of the family hair. Like, they don't look black, they're very racially ambiguous. They're very so
they get everything from Samoan to Mexican to
everything. How do you raise your children to love their blackness but not bring them down? Because you know, back in our day, it was like light skin was on a pedestal. So how do you get them to be humble about how they look and not and teach them, like, just because you're lighter skin and you have longer hair and a different texture doesn't mean that you're better than any other black person with a kinkier hair and a darker skin and whatnot. Do you guys have those conversations? Is it too early right now for those conversations for them to even understand? Have you considered those conversations in the future with your children? Like, where do you guys stand in that?
And I think, you know what, I think a lot of that comes from just the example of the parents before it's even a conversation. It's a conversation before it's even a conversation by your example. So for instance, I've noticed with biracial children and things like that, a lot of that had to do with the example that they were set. If they had a mother or a father who was black but talked bad about black people, talked bad about dark skinned people, and be like, oh, with they nappy hair, or you know, whatever they said, then that makes them, give them connotation like, oh, well, that must not be good. If you always see your child and be like, oh girl, your hair's so long and pretty, oh mommy wish she had that hair, what are you telling them without telling them? Do you get what I'm saying? So I think by letting my daughter know that I'm confident in me and you be confident in you. She told me the other day, mommy, I want hair like yours. I was like, well, I said, Mommy likes my hair. I said, I like your hair too, girl. I said, we both got just different hair, but they both beautiful. She said, yeah, mine's long, yours short. I said, yeah, we do our thing, huh? Mm-hmm. So to let her know that no matter what, we can all be loved. We can all have confidence. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think the fact that she has a chocolate mother with short, kinky hair, whatever, who is confident and loves herself, it's going to speak more than me sitting down and having that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because she is only 5. So by that example, my biggest thing is just for you to be confident in you, and allowing other people to be confident in them without being cocky. You know what I'm saying? Without being so like, I'm just so, you want your child to feel good and be the best, but also knowing that there's going to be people better than you in certain areas, and you're going to be better than people. So there's love for everybody. Everybody can go around.
Right. So in wrapping it up, I have one more question for you. How would you feel if your children are of age now and they're dating, or they are really interested in someone and they're not black? Is there an issue for you with your blackness kind of dying down from generation to generation, or are you just like, you know what, at the end of the day, I want somebody who loves my children and treats them well? But is there underlining like, man, I really do want them to still be with black people? Like, are you swaying towards more one race of them being with a particular race, or it just doesn't matter to you?
I would be 1,000% lying if I said it wasn't a concern when I first got married.
Okay.
When I first got married and I got pregnant with my son, and I had saw an interracial couple. He was black and his wife was white, and they had kids who married white people, and their grandkids were so blonde haired, blue eyed that you couldn't even tell that they had any. And I was like, okay, that's a for real thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a for real thing. And it was a concern, but not enough for me not to marry my husband, not enough for me not to have kids. But it's something that I just have to get over. Because I'm not going to tell them who they can and can't be with. I didn't want nobody telling me that when I married my white husband. And at the end of the day, all is said and done, I want somebody who's going to love them the way that they deserve and should be loved. So whatever package that comes in, whatever skin color that's going to come in, so amen. So amen. We're souls first. You know what I'm saying? We're all children of God. And so when we look at it in the bigger picture and say that we all need to advocate for each other, fight for each other, be there for each other, love each other, then and I think that's what Black Lives Matter is trying to say. Like, hey, we matter too. You know what I'm saying?
And I have to say that all the time. At the two, we're not saying that just our lives matter, but we matter as well. We matter too.
If we were all to look at each other as children of God and love each other and be there for each other, we wouldn't have to have that.
Right.
We wouldn't have to have Black Lives Matter.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I think that it was definitely a thought, but it is what it is. It's going to be what's going to be.
All right, then.
I will love my grandbabies regardless.
All right, then. So in saying that and wrapping it up, last season and the season before, we used to do our 1 minute ministry. What can you give in 1 minute a takeaway to our viewers about interracial relationships that are tying into Black Lives Matter? Like, what advice can you give, or what things to look for, or just anything sweet just to give them, just a takeaway?
Hey, y'all.
How you doing?
So, if I could say anything, I would say that being Black and being proud to be Black is not always depicted by who you are with. Don't just assume because somebody is with somebody white or of a different ethnicity that they're not proud of who they are. I don't have to wear my hair in an afro to be proud to be Black. I don't have to be married to a Black man to be proud to be Black. Pride. I'm so proud of myself and I'm so comfortable in my Black skin, I could be married and be with anybody. They're not going to diminish my Blackness. They're not going to diminish my history. They're not going to diminish my future. They're not going to diminish that Black girl magic. They're going to get all of this today.
All of it. All of it.
All of it. Okay? So, and if you are in somebody who's in an interracial relationship or an interracial marriage, first of all, you do not have to explain yourself. You do not have to, you don't owe anybody anything. You continue to fight for your people. to continue to stand for your people. You continue to protest and promote and drag your white husband, your little biracial babies right on out with you, and let everybody know that you guys are a unit.
Amen.
And it doesn't have to take anything away from the movement. If anything, we just added some white allies to it. There you go.
And on that note, she dropped the mic. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, every time you wake up is a new opportunity to walk after your purpose. So just go after it, guys. You got this. See you next week.
Bye.
Hey guys, welcome to the Powder Room Show. My name is LaShae De'Lana, and I'm your host, of course. And today is really
The last one, you want to act up.
act up.
Okay.
If you're ready. Last show of the day. We have taped 5 shows. And I'm tired. I'm excited. Really? Really? I can't stand like this.
That's a kid, you are so immature.
So immature. Okay, I'm putting a little stopwatch on here so we can know how we're doing as far as time. Is it recorded?
Yep.
You should put this on tape. Okay.
Wait.
Oh. Okay, ready?
Dude, he said, I think our thing is that we need to,
Sorry. Oh my goodness.
and he said, I think it's